The people in our group are from Minnesota, Michigan, and New Jersey, and when one of our group members moved to Michigan State, they noticed a big difference in the food culture here compared to their state of New Jersey. Once we started researching the different food cultures and histories of New Jersey, Minnesota, and Michigan, where all our group members are from, we noticed differences, issues, and solutions. In our project, we'll be comparing the different foods and history of the cultures in those 3 states. And what we found is that the Midwest, Minnesota, and Michigan foods are much more similar than New Jersey. New Jersey is centered around their culture of food and have more Italian foods such as hoagies and tomato pie, foods that are not commonly found here.
For my portion of the project, I'll be talking about the history of the food culture in the state of New Jersey. New Jersey's food culture primarily has its origins in the food brought to the United States by immigrants from Europe. This mainly consists of German and Italian immigrants who introduced some prominent foods that are still popular in the state to this day. This would include tomato pie brought by Italian immigrants who originally came to this country and lived in New York City, and then the hot dog, which was derived from foods brought by the German immigrants when they also lived in New York City. Now, another portion of New Jersey's food culture is going to be its culture of diners, which is something that originated in the state really without any outside help. And that is because of New Jersey's really high population density and their great network of roads, which made the state a great place to have fast food that you could get at really any time for motorists. This started around 1910 when the New Jersey Diner Company started manufacturing thousands of prefabricated diners. Now, in the past 50 years, this culture of diners has started to wane, but there are still thousands of diners in New Jersey, and it is still the diner capital of the country. And its culture of fast but good home-cooked food that you could get at almost any time of the day is still prevalent in the state to this day. Those are the main elements of New Jersey's food culture, at least historically. There have been some more modern adaptations, but for the most part, that is the basis of a lot of the prominent dishes in the state of New Jersey.
So I'm going to be talking about the current condition of the 3 different states' foods that we are talking about in this video. So starting off with Michigan. Michigan is known for their cherries. So throughout the research I did, I found very quickly that Michigan cherries is something you don't mess with. Another thing that they're really famous for is wet burritos. They also have their own style of pizza called Detroit style pizza. Coney Island hot dogs as well as pasties are very popular. And then rounding out Michigan, I have Mackinac Island fudge. As for New Jersey, one of the most popular foods by far is tomato pie. Basically reverse pizza. Cheese on the bottom, tomatoes on top. Hoagies are super popular. Also, along in the sandwich type category, you have pork rolls that are super popular. Saltwater taffy, as well as disco fries. Italian hot dogs, and in New Jersey is where the candy apple originated. As for Minnesota, slightly biased because that's where I'm from, we are most known for hot dish. If you don't know what hot dish is, you guys probably call it casserole, but we all call it hot dish. Minnesota has our food icon, which is the Minnesota State Fair, and basically there are a ton of food there that is special to the state fair, but also just to the area in general. The top 2 most popular places at the Minnesota State Fair is the corn roast, which is basically where you just get an ear of corn to eat, and Sweet Martha's cookies. And fun fact, Sweet Martha's cookies makes 2,250 cookies a minute. Jell-O salad is also a super popular thing to make around holiday times in Minnesota. A Juicy Lucy is super popular, typically in Dinkytown, just by the University of Minnesota. Basically, it's a hamburger that's just stuffed with cheese. So instead of the cheese going on top of the burger, it's inside the burger. Spam was originated in Austin, Minnesota, and wild rice is cultivated mainly in Minnesota, which makes it super popular as well.
As you all know, I'm a very big advocate on New Jersey foods being better than Michigan foods. But coming here, I have definitely struggled in the beginning and had many mental breakdowns over the fact that not only are there not dishes from New Jersey here, but there are not individual foods that I've grown up eating. I grew up around very Italian areas and Portuguese areas, and I've always had a local deli right near me. I've always had a bakery near me, bagel shops, and coming here and seeing that there's not a pizza shop or Italian place on every corner was a really big shock to me. And coming here and people not knowing what prosciutto was, which is an Italian cured meat, or even a Mexican food like empanadas, small things like that, was really a big culture shock, and I didn't know how I was going to survive without some of my favorite foods, because I'm the kind of person where I will get like cravings for one specific food and I have to have it. So it definitely scared me a little bit, and I was not ready to let go of those stuff for such a long time until I go home. But I learned that I have to adapt and I have to try new places instead of the same places here. Maybe test out Ann Arbor to see the foods that are there. I need to try more water brands, because here Poland Spring is not a big thing, but that's by far the best water brand. So little things like that to try to adapt to Michigan food. And what Michigan can do is try to be more diverse like New Jersey foods are, by bringing more cultures, by having more Italian food instead of just fast food Italian, by looking into Portuguese food, Mexican places more authentic, things like that. And I think we will be fine.
So, in conclusion to everything that my previous group members have stated, we just kind of looked at the different food cultures in Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey. There is definitely a difference between all three. There's a difference not just between those three, but different foods around the whole United States. Michigan compared to California, compared to Minnesota, compared to New Jersey, compared to Florida, it's all going to be different, and then there's a huge difference between different countries' foods as a whole, and kind of one of the things we can do to change this, or like kind of get you more acclimated, is there's definitely plenty of places around East Lansing, to go out and try. I mean, just in the MSU dining hall at the International Center or whatever, there's like this Mediterranean place alone. I mean, that's just one example. But definitely a lot of places I think I would suggest for people who are coming from these different places, different cultures, is to just get out and try some new things. I mean, there's hundreds of bars and restaurants and, between fine dining and casual and, like I said, the bar atmosphere, hundreds of different places you can go and try. But that's the biggest thing I would suggest to fix this issue, because it's not really an issue. I mean, it's really just about trying new things. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the presentation.